You know that feeling when the air pressure drops right before a storm? The sky turns a weird color, the birds stop singing, and you just know something is coming. That is exactly what the global economy feels like right now. It's quiet, but it's a heavy, uncomfortable kind of quiet. You open your phone and it's just red arrows and bad news. You see headlines about conflict in the Middle East, escalating tensions in Europe, and supply chains breaking down. And then you look at your bank account. The number is there, but it feels weaker. It buys less at the grocery store. It buys less gas. The money is melting. But while the stock market is hyperventilating and currencies are wobbling, there is one asset class that has been quietly screaming a warning signal: gold and silver. Recently, we have seen gold smashing through all-time highs. We've seen silver shortages starting to choke major industries, but Wall Street isn't telling you the whole story. Here is the truth. Gold isn't going up because it's a good investment. Gold is going up because it is the world's fear gauge. Think of the global economy like a giant house. Stocks are the furniture, nice to look at. Crypto is the TV, exciting to watch. But gold is the smoke alarm. When the smoke alarm starts beeping, you don't celebrate that the alarm is working. You worry about the fire, and right now, the alarm is blaring. Historically, whenever trust in governments breaks down, money flows into metals. It happened in the 1970s. It happened in 2008. And it is happening right now on a massive scale. Why? Because when wars break out and debt bubbles burst, paper promises, which is all your currency is, start to look very fragile. In this video, we are not just going to talk about price charts. We are going to look at the structural shift happening right now. We're going to discuss why central banks are panic buying gold while telling you not to worry. We're going to uncover the silver squeeze that could make the shortage of toilet paper in 2020 look like a joke. Miners used to carry a canary down into the coal mines. If the air became toxic, the canary would stop singing. It was the signal to get out. The recent spike in metal prices is our canary. The question is, are you going to ignore it, or are you going to listen? To understand why the rich are buying rocks, we have to understand the difference between currency and money. Most people think they are the same thing. They are not. The dollars, euros, or pounds in your bank account are currency. They are a medium of exchange. They are portable, divisible, and durable, but they miss the most important property of real money. They are not a store of value over a long period. Currency is created by governments. It is printed, it is digital, and most importantly, it is unlimited. Fiat currency simply means by decree. It has value only because the government says it does. But here is the flaw in the system. Whenever a crisis hits, like a war or a pandemic, the government needs to spend money it doesn't have. So, they print it. When they print more currency, the existing currency in your pocket becomes worth less. It's simple supply and demand. If you double the amount of monopoly money in the game, the price of Boardwalk goes up. It's not that the house got better, it's that the money got weaker. Gold is different. You cannot print gold. You cannot digitally create gold with a keystroke. To get 1 ounce of gold, you have to move tons of earth, burn massive amounts of energy, and spend huge amounts of time. Gold is stored energy. It represents proof of work. This is why, for 5,000 years, gold has survived every single empire, every war, and every currency collapse. It is the only financial asset that is not someone else's liability. Think about it. If you own a stock, you are trusting the CEO not to bankrupt the company. If you own a bond, you are trusting the government to pay you back. If you have cash in the bank, you are trusting the bank not to fail. But if you hold a gold coin in your hand, you don't have to trust anyone. It doesn't need a board of directors. It doesn't need a power grid. It just is. In a world where trust is breaking down between nations, gold is the only neutral money left. Let me give you my favorite example of this. In the year 1920, a brand new high-quality suit cost about $20. That was roughly 1 ounce of gold. Today, a brand new high-quality suit costs about $2,500. Guess what? That is still roughly 1 ounce of gold. The gold didn't change. It bought a suit then, and it buys a suit now. The dollar, however, lost 99% of its value. Gold preserves your purchasing power. Fiat currency leaks it like a battery that won't hold a charge. While gold is the king of wealth preservation, silver is the wild, volatile little brother. If gold moves 1%, silver moves 3%. But right now, silver is facing a unique storm that gold isn't. You see, gold is almost exclusively a monetary metal. We dig it up, melt it into bars, and lock it in a dark vault. It stays there forever. But silver leads a double life. It is a monetary metal, yes, but it is also an industrial necessity, and that is where the squeeze comes from. Silver is the most conductive metal on Earth. You cannot build the modern world without it. It is in your iPhone, your laptop, and the guidance chips of the missiles being used in current wars. But the biggest monster eating up the silver supply is the green energy revolution. Solar panels require massive amounts of silver paste. Electric vehicles, EVs, use nearly twice as much silver as gas cars. As governments push for net zero and clean energy, they are inadvertently creating a massive demand shock for silver. They are ordering millions of solar panels, but they forgot to check if there is enough silver to build them. Let's look at the numbers because they are terrifying for manufacturers, but exciting for investors. For the last few years, the world has consumed more silver than it has mined. We are in a structural deficit. The demand is here, high, and the supply is here, low. And unlike a factory, you can't just turn up a silver mine. It takes 10 to 15 years to discover, permit, and build a new mine. We are running out of above-ground stockpiles, and the industrial machine is still hungry. Here is the scariest part. Gold is hoarded, but silver is destroyed. When silver is used in a missile, it explodes and is gone. When it is used in a smartphone or a solar panel, it is used in such tiny amounts that it is often too expensive to recycle. So, it ends up in a landfill. We are literally throwing precious metal into the garbage. We have been eating through our above-ground silver for decades, and now, right when geopolitical tensions are high and investors want safety, the industry is realizing the cupboard is bare. This creates the silver squeeze. If investors suddenly decide they want to buy silver for safety because of war or inflation, they have to fight for the metal against Apple, Tesla, and Samsung, who need it to survive. When investment demand meets industrial desperation, prices don't just go up, they go vertical. That is why many experts believe silver is currently the most undervalued asset on the planet compared to its historical highs. Whenever tanks roll across borders or missiles fly, the financial world reacts in a very specific way. It's called the flight to safety. When the world is peaceful, investors love risk assets, things like tech stocks, crypto, and emerging market debt. They are chasing growth. But when war breaks out, growth doesn't matter anymore. Survival matters. Capital is cowardly. It hates uncertainty. And in times of geopolitical chaos, the only asset that doesn't have a political party or a national flag is gold. We have entered a new era of warfare, economic warfare. In recent years, we saw major nations get kicked out of the global banking system, SWIFT. Their foreign reserves were frozen. This sent a shockwave through every government in the world. Leaders of non-Western countries realized if we keep our money in dollars or euros, it can be frozen if we disagree with the West. So, what is the alternative? Gold. You cannot freeze a gold bar that is sitting in a vault in your own country. Traders call this the war premium. It's the extra price you pay for gold when the likelihood of conflict is high. Think of it like buying bottled water before a hurricane. The water didn't change, but the value of having it right now skyrocketed. Currently, with tensions rising in the Middle East and Eastern Europe, the war premium is being priced in every single day. The market is betting that things might get worse before they get better, and smart money is positioning itself before the headlines break, not after. There is another reason metals shine during conflict. War is expensive. Incredibly expensive. How do governments pay for it? They can't tax you enough to pay for aircraft carriers and ammunition, so they print the money. Every major war in history, from the Romans to World War II, was funded by inflating the currency. This means that while the war is being fought with weapons, your savings are being destroyed by inflation. Holding gold is simply betting that politicians will choose to print money rather than admit they can't afford the war. This sounds grim, and I hope for peace just as much as you do. But as an investor, you cannot invest based on how you want the world to be. You have to invest based on how the world is. And right now, the world is fracturing. If you have 100% of your wealth in digital numbers that rely on peace and stability, you're taking a massive risk. Gold and silver are your hedge against the chaos. They are the insurance policy for the what-if scenarios that nobody wants to talk about. If you listen to mainstream financial news or government officials, they will tell you that gold is a barbarous relic. They say it's old-fashioned. They say it pays no interest. They say you are better off in the stock market. But here is the golden rule of finance. Never listen to what they say, watch what they do. While they tell you that currency is safe, central banks around the world have been buying gold at the fastest pace in over 50 years. Why would they buy a useless rock if they have the power to print their own money? The biggest buyers are countries like China, Russia, Poland, and India. They are actively de-dollarizing. They know that holding U.S. debt, treasury bonds, is risky if the U.S. decides to inflate its currency away or use it as a weapon. So they are trading paper debt for physical metal. They are trading promises for reality. This is a strategic move to protect their nations from a currency collapse. They are building a fortress while the average person is still living in a house made of straw. A few years ago, something huge happened in the banking world that nobody talked about on the news. It's called Basel III. Essentially, the global banking regulators reclassified gold as a Tier 1 asset. Before this, gold was considered risky. Now it is officially considered risk-free, just like cash. This was the green light for banks to load up on bullion. They changed the rules of the game in their favor, allowed themselves to hoard gold as a primary reserve asset, and then didn't bother to tell the public to do the same. Imagine a high-stakes poker game. The players are the US, Europe, China, and the BRICS nations. They are all bluffing. They are all printing money to stay in the game. But eventually, someone is going to call the bluff. When that happens, the only chips that will matter on the table are the ones that have intrinsic value. Central banks know that when the music stops, when the debt bubble finally bursts, gold is the only chair left to sit on. They are securing their chairs now. So, what should you do? In investing, we have a strategy called following the whales. If the biggest, most powerful, and most informed financial institutions in history are dumping fiat currency to buy gold, you probably shouldn't be doing the opposite. You don't need to be a billionaire to invest like one. You just need to look at their balance sheet and copy their homework. If gold is good enough for the Central Bank of China, it's probably good enough for your savings account. Before you rush out to buy metals, I need to tell you what not to expect. Do not buy gold expecting to get rich next Tuesday. This is not a crypto meme coin. It is not a tech stock, IPO. If you are looking for 100 times returns, you are in the wrong asset class. Gold is boring. And that is exactly the point. It is the anti-bubble. When everything else is popping and crashing, gold just sits there, retaining its value, waiting for the smoke to clear. Treat precious metals exactly like you treat fire insurance for your house. You pay for insurance every month, but do you hope your house burns down so you can get rich? Of course not. You hope you never have to use it. You hope that money is wasted. But if you wake up one night and smell smoke, that insurance policy is the only thing standing between you and total ruin. Gold is financial fire insurance. You hold it hoping the economy doesn't collapse, but sleeping better knowing you are covered if it does. So, what is the magic number? How much should you own? Most conservative financial experts suggest an allocation of 5% to 10% of your net worth. You don't need to go all in and become a doomsday prepper, living in a bunker with 500 cans of beans. That is fear, not strategy. A 10% allocation acts like the ballast in a ship. It keeps the boat steady when the waves get rough, allowing you to keep your other investments in stocks or real estate without panic selling during a crash. One final warning. Be very careful how you buy it. In the financial industry, there is a saying, if you can't hold it, you don't own it. Many people buy paper gold, ETFs, or digital contracts, but if the system truly breaks, those paper contracts are just I owe us. There are roughly 100 paper claims for every 1 real ounce of gold in the vaults. If everyone asks for their metal at the same time, the window closes. If you are buying for safety, physical metal in your own possession eliminates the counterparty risk entirely. We are living in historic times. The debt is unsustainable, geopolitical tensions are rising, and the silver supply is running on fumes. The canary in the coal mine has stopped singing. You don't have to be afraid, but you do have to be prepared. The greatest return on investment, ROI, gold offers isn't money. It's peace of mind. It's the ability to close your eyes at night, knowing that no matter what the central banks or politicians do tomorrow, a part of your labor is stored in something they can't print, freeze, or destroy. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.